Hello world, here we are talking to each other from opposite ends of the globe. It's a little miracle, is it not? So I thought I need to catch up on some of those who are fighting the good fight, and I wanted to have a look at Elijah Cummings, Adam Schiff, and the squad as a collective. So they're up against it for all sorts of obvious reasons. This is unprecedented gaslighting, but such an important time in American history. And these people as individuals are really giving their all to try and make for a better America, and they fully deserve our support. And the attack on all of them now, including Elijah Cummings, and the attack on the squad. Trump, you can only say, his mentality is so kindergarten in the worst possible way. That's not fair to kindy kids. I take that back. He's just one of those playground bullies. He's the kid you don't want to invite to the birthday party. He's just ugly inside and out. So these people deserve as much support as we can humanly muster. So, first of all, I'm going to do Elijah Cummings without any further ado, because he's been so dignified in the face of abuse and stupidness by the GOP. Elijah Cummings. Elijah Cummings. All right. Yes, the GOP have ripped off his power. It's a journey. It's a journey. So these three cards here tell the story. On the one hand, I'm now seeing this more and more as a Russian rip-off card, meaning Russian interference. This has always been my GOP card. Somehow the GOP convince themselves they're the only ones with family values, and their values are the only ones that matter. And it's very white bread and old school idea of family values, but it's the GOP ripping him off and stabbing him in the back, right? So that, on one level, those three cards give the foundation for what his working day is like. We know this, okay? So underneath him, this is the King of Wands. This could be him as the voice of reason, someone who wants fairness, someone who wants propriety, someone who wants to govern in the broader interests of the people. There can be a selfish King of Wands, but I certainly don't think it's him. I think that's him, and I think the Queen of Pentacles is Pelosi. So I think there's some tension between. On the one hand, they're fighting the same fight, but they have a different way of going about it. I don't know enough about Elijah Cummings to know where he sits in terms of the corporate donation stuff. But Pelosi keeps turning up as the Queen of Pentacles because she represents, in a way, the older Dems who they saw their way forward as bringing big business on side, being at the beck and call of big business, and then being a bit more decent than the other side. There is a concern about that. So I feel that's a tension between them around impeach or not impeach issue. So then here we go down. This is the group money and the dark money. I think he's a bit worried about the old school way of doing things. This is a back to basics, but also fine print. He has the discipline to be doing the fine print of the legal stuff every step of the way. It's like he's stepping the party through it. Final outcome, thank you, Jesus, is the Ace of Swords, the sword of truth and cutting through. So no real revelations there. It's telling his story. These three cards are it. That the GOP is sabotaging the country, and this breaks his heart and continues to stab him in the back. There's a lot more to go, but the end, he is a voice of truth and justice. So that's Elijah, and blessings for that. We're moving on to Adam Schiff now. He such an interesting character. I like him a lot. He's really good under pressure as well. He sort of thrives on pressure. And I think his quiet demeanour actually must drive the Jim Meadows and those guys insane, because he just keeps coming back and being really, really decent. But he has a very powerful way with words. He cuts through a lot of the gaslighting, and that is his true strength and gift as I see it. So Adam Schiff, let's have a look here. Adam Schiff. What's happening with Adam Schiff? All right. So here we go. Look, he gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana cards. For those of you who don't follow tarot, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck, in a traditional deck. 22 are major arcana. They're the big guns. They matter. So statistically, for him to get 5 in this layout is really saying something before I even get into what they are. Okay, so that had to be said. This is very interesting. This is 6 of Cups, the nostalgia card, could be looking to the past, blah, blah. But it has a different emphasis here with Adam Schiff. When the GOP talk about the past, or even Trump, make America great again, code for make America white again, they're talking about a particular, if you like, folk memory of what was really going on in that time. Schiff is also looking to the past for answers, but in a different way, of speaking to cohesion and the national narrative that was more about being inclusive, being innovative, genuinely making lives better. So I think the card has a different slant with him. Now, there's a lot going on for him here. His star is on the rise. This is the recent past. The star is hope and inspiration. The thing about Adam Schiff is he doesn't have this huge physical presence that knocks you over. It's a quieter way of going about his business, but you can rely on him, and he does give hope and inspiration. I'm going to motor through these now because we've got to get to the squad. He understands. This is waiting for his ship to come in. This could be waiting for a possible president's gig or vice president. We tend to get preoccupied with Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren or someone as vice president too. He'd make a bloody good vice president. But this is also saying he understands international trade and he understands the complexity of it and the seriousness of the isolationism that's driven by Trump, which is making America out in the cold. The Five of Pentacles, he's talking about the country. This is his through line here. He is very worried that the nostalgia, it's coming with one angle of the nostalgia, oh, wasn't it great, without the other, which was the responsibilities that came with that. So his through line is about America and not himself. That sets him apart for a start from a lot of the other sort of demigods that are attracted to the Washington landscape. So he's very concerned about that. He gets the Magician card in a good place. He, I think, can be transformative. He's connecting. The Magician connects heaven and earth, but he, Adam Schiff, is connecting people. You'd have to be a really bloody-minded, wretched, dyed-in-the-wool, you'll never change my mind type Republican to not even listen to him. So he can bring people together. He is a uniting force. That is important. Okay, then I'm going to read these as I laid them, which is the Moon, Justice, World. They're all major arcana. Now, on top here, Justice, he represents justice, but also is confident that the justice system will hold together. He truly believes that, and I so hope he's right. Justice has to get through the gaslighting, the deception, the things that are buried. He's also up against people's unconscious sort of fantasies about what the past was. But this, I think, is moon energy in the sense of the old school lies and deceit. He has to overcome that for justice to prevail. But it's also next to the Magician. He's one of the people who can actually open people's eyes. And very good outcome card, the world, the big picture, total change, the total end of one way of doing things, the world. There's much more to the world card, but that will do. So in terms of Adam Schiff, he's very worried about the country, as of course you are, I am. Most people are very worried, except, strangely enough, the most conservative party of the last 3 generations, who's prepared to throw it all overboard to have some demagogue in a bad suit who has his MAGA hats made in China, who wants to create a sort of demonic monarchy in their name. How do the Tea Party people reconcile this? This is because, to answer my own question, they rely on emotion, not on detail. They never talk about policies because they haven't got any. They're really good at the emotional manipulation. Okay, now I'm going to sprint on to the squad, which, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to read collectively, and I'll have some clarifiers as well. So talk about these 4 women who are bringing a very different energy to the table. They've chosen to call themselves the squad. What's happening for the squad? Oops. I'm going to put those back. Bad shuffle. Oh, these want to come out. What are they? Ooh. Okay, let's start with these then, I think, because they jumped out. what they are about, these women, what their primary objective is in one way, how to say this, they're a challenge and therefore a threat to the status quo. And by the status quo, I also include Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi and all of these. So this is family money, this is dynastic money. This is business as usual in America. So when you think the problem's Trump, and if only we got rid of Trump, things would be great. No, this is institutional problematic distribution of wealth. This is what they are challenging. I don't think any of these women came from particularly wealthy or powerful families. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know, viewers. I'm quite happy to be corrected, but my impression is they have worked hard and got there on merit, and there's nothing wrong with anyone born to a wealthy family who has a good education, as long as you understand that is privilege too, and part of the karmic contract should be to give back, you know. So I'm not saying anything about anything other than saying this is their challenge. This is the old way of doing business in relation to their reading. Okay, these three cards came out together. They're sick and tired of, this is the corporate culture allegedly making people happy. I've never been comfortable with this card. Intrepid viewers who have seen a lot of my viewers know I always get a bit cranky with this card. Traditionally, it's read as, wow, great. You know, lots of your hopes and wishes have come to bear, but this guy didn't get his money by being nice to people or even remotely ethical to people. There's an ambivalence about this card. Anyway, that's my buzz. You don't have to worry about it. But it does come into my readings, and I think it's related to this. Up until now, Americans at large have bought into the trickle-down economics like we did in Australia. If it's good for corporate business, it's good for the country, you know. It's such a load of hogwash, but it's very powerful, and it's permeated the economic modelling of all our countries. Okay, so they're coming up with a new emotional contract with the nation. Why should it be that only people with money get to have a comfortable life? It's gone too far away from even the post-war stuff where a working class family could pay off a house, their kids could have a life that was a bit better than the parents. People settle for that in most countries. Now we've got to a stage where it's no longer true. So they're representing a different emotional way of looking at these issues. Let me keep going with the squad. Yes, well, what we have here, this is their if you like, their hopes and fears in a way. They're hoping, and they each are in their own right, a Queen of Swords. Sorry, I should have had you down, not up. Their hopes and fears that the system will hold up legally to help them move forward, but they're fearless in a sense. They are a new generation, they are a new way of thinking, and they are prepared to take on anyone or anything that will, in fact, stop them individually. They're particularly courageous. Sorry, I took a long time to say that. There's a courage and a clarity around this. The Queen of Swords can also be very sharp with words. You would not want to enter into a Twitter fight with any of these women as individuals, because they're the new generation. They will eat the enemies for breakfast in the best possible way. This is karmic. They are America's biggest hope in a way. Whether they get up or not, another digression, viewers, technically whether each gets re-elected or if they fly to the top or even not, it doesn't matter, because they are destined karmically to be part of the change. What they say and do between now and the election in 2020 is going to come behind them with the youth. They are young and they are speaking to the youth, and they have the capacity to turn things around regardless of their individual fortunes. All right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. Their challenge, before I get to the outcome, walking away, the challenge is they have to convince the young, because if young people do not engage and don't turn out, America is perfectly capable of sliding into some sort of oligarchy or plutocracy or something, someplace you don't want to be. So it's really important. The challenge is keeping people on board, not just as the squad, but for the Dems generally. People get exhausted. It's easy to throw in the towel. This is the biggest warning for America. If you're feeling burnt out now, please take some time out, re-energize, be part of the fight. It'll really help you feel like you're doing something. They want you to walk away. They want you to throw your hands in the air and walk away. It is so important. This is a card for America, along with my angel trumpet card. So let's go to outcomes for the squad. Another little shuffle. I'll do two, I think. What are their outcomes in terms of their influence? I'm not going into who's getting re-elected or anything, just their influence. Because they're a thorn in the side for the old guard. So, what is their influence? A pact will be made. And the magician, I love that. I so love that. That is, excuse me, more optimistic than I hoped for, and I'm usually a pretty optimistic person. So, Two of Cups, pacts, bringing people together. They get the collective magician card. They can pull this off. So, ironically, you might say, in terms of the commentary of what's going on, this new, radical, no-holds-barred way of thinking, the S word, socialism, for the people, ooh, evil word, evil word. No, they are going to actually, despite the fears of the convention, and even myself really, I was a bit worried they might be more divisive, but this is further out. There will be division and confrontation and, famously, argy-bargy. But they're going to ultimately bring people to the table. They're going to bring people to the table. And collectively, they're massively powerful. And let me just say one more thing. There's four of them. The magician represents the four elements: earth, wind, fire, and water. They have all the elements at their fingertips. They are very potent. I am very happy with that outcome. So remember, that's future though. We don't want to just jump over the messy bit. There's going to be a lot of messiness. But on the other side, I'm thrilled. Okay, go the millennials and the Zs. We say Z in Australia, not Z. So it's, you know, the 14 to 19-year-olds that are really going to play a role. 2020 is like the dress rehearsal for 2024. These things will take some time. Don't panic, don't fear, be calm. Watch it from above, right? Do something positive for yourself and someone else every day if you can manage it. It helps shift that energy. Love you guys. Bye, 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 bye. Bye now.